All right, we are live. Doug, anytime you're ready.
And now, from somewhere in Fort Collins, Colorado, with the same background as everybody else in the whole wide world, that wonderful office with the little fountain thing in the back, it's Stuart Yoshida on the OokTown podcast. Oh, it's Stuart Yoshida and the OokTown podcast.
Doug, thank you for that intro. That's my co host, Doug Brown, who we haven't seen in a while. So awesome. So good to have you. And I want to bring on the show. Most of you on YouTube's can already see her. Is Brittni Paiva, ukulele performer, artist, producer, and songwriter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and apologies to all you guys out there. We've been trying to have this show for a while. Uh, Last week was a really big disaster for myself. My audio equipment, I could not get to work properly. So here we are. But that's all good because we have Brittni. And I got to tell you, Brittni, I don't know who brought your name up. It might have even been EP Davis, or did you do it, Doug, that you brought the video of Brittni doing Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
Probably
Uh,
not.
I guess not. I thought it was you. All right, maybe it was. I bet you it was EP Davison, a dear friend of ours who unfortunately had passed away a few years ago. But Brittni, I want to actually ask you about this one. I don't know if I put this in the notes or not. All right, so I said, oh, Brittni Paiva, you gotta watch her video. She plays Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So I was going, oh, she does a cover of the Brother Is version, but no, you did the original version.
Hmm.
Now, tell me about that choice. Why did you choose that? Was it kind of like a tongue in cheek, kind of because of all the
Um,
hoopla around Brother Is?
Not necessarily. So that song has been, a favorite of mine ever since, with the Wizard of Oz movie came out. Well, actually, I wasn't even alive when it came out, but that,
I was
that
gonna
was
say,
that was a favorite of mine ever since I watched that movie as a child. So, um, when it when I was playing my uke one day, I just decided like, hey, I'm gonna do, a cover, and so, um, I just sat down and played a bunch of chords, and that's what came out as, my cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So, yeah,
really? Wow,
yeah.
because that's pretty true to the original. Because
Right.
I would never have guessed it was just your own arrangement. So,
Hmm.
wow.
Well, and
Yeah. So,
if people would like to go and see that, the link to that is in the show notes. In addition, your lovely Kamaka ukulele is featured in that one with your name on the
mhm.
fretboard, and it looks super awesome.
It's a
That
beautiful
is
uke.
very that is very cool. And this was like wow, over 10 years ago now?
Quite a long
2008 or
time, yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So here's the
Yeah.
thing too. I'm so impressed that you started off, that in 2000, well, probably before 2008, and
Hmm.
here you are still doing it. I mean, that is a very amazing,
Thank you.
amazing achievement. So good on
Thank
you.
you.
So when people hear you're going to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, what's the reaction when you play the actual original version?
It's I think at first people kind of expect to hear the Bretta Is version, with the very unique strumming that he does. Um,
Right.
and then when I start off really slow, and that's one of the things that I like to do with all of my covers is I don't like to go way into left field. As far as the arrangement goes, I like to have the essence of the original still come through, but
Hmm.
with my own style of music. So when I start the song off, it's usually just like two notes that I play, or one note and a chord, and then that's when people realize like, oh, this is not the Bretta Is version. This is going to be
Yeah.
something completely different than what they expected, and the reaction is always really wonderful.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, they're
Thank
expecting
you.
that syncopated, reggae.
Mm-hmm.
Jawaiian kind of thing, and no,
Right.
you do the real old school stuff. Nice.
Yeah.
And speaking of gigs, like, okay, so I don't know if our YouTube audience, well, I'm sure your fans know, Brittany's played with Tommy Emmanuel and Santana,
Mhm.
which if I got to do that, I'd call it a career. I'd be like, all right, I can retire now.
That's essentially what I did that night after the Santana concert.
Yeah.
So
No-
yeah, so I actually flew up here. So I found out Santana was going to be kicking off his tour up here in Oahu. So I was living on Big Island at the time, and so I flew up and had a chance to meet him backstage. And I would stay every time I would come to Oahu. I would stay with Kalega Miao and his family,
Oh
and
yeah.
they've been actually family friends since before Kale and I have even started playing ukulele. So we go really far back, but. Um,
Wow.
so I got the chance to meet Santana and hang out with him, then perform with him, which I completely did not expect. Um, so then I remember going back to Kale's house that night, and I was laying in bed, and I'm thinking, okay, now what? And
Yeah, no
that was like
kidding.
the moment, like, okay, I need to dream of bigger things, because that
Okay.
was the one thing that I
Wow.
wanted to do for my entire career was play with Santana. And that
Wow.
just happened. So now I'm like, okay, this is like a really surreal moment here. What can I do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is your next gig going to be with like Taylor Swift or someone? Is that what you're thinking?
Actually, I do want to produce a song for her. So that's
Oh,
a very big
nice.
aspiration. But
We'll
one
send
day.
that out.
I hear you.
Well,
Mine is playing ukulele with Weird Al Yankovic, but
there you
I have
go.
not
That'd
achieved
be so
my
fun.
goal yet.
That would be
So,
fun.
which
I think
by the
that's
way, if you haven't seen Weird yet, the
yeah.
Al Yankovic story, you should
Yeah.
go out and watch it right now. Not right now. You can wait until the
No.
podcast is over.
Yes,
But
please.
mhm.
Yes, please. Yeah. Well, and for those of you who haven't heard of Tommy Emmanuel, you ought to check him out because he is one
Mm.
amazing not ukulele, guitar player. I saw him a couple times live, up
Mhm.
close, and ah, just incredible. And then you got to play with. Now, which came first, Tommy Emmanuel or Santana? I don't
Tommy
know the.
Emmanuel came first.
Okay, all right.
So I actually met him up in Grass Valley, California, at the California World Fest, and he was hanging out backstage, warming up. I went and sat down, introduced myself, and talked stories. And he had played with Jake too, I think, at that point. So
Oh, really?
we had
Wow.
that sort of mutual thing. But yeah, so we were just kind of messing around, with our uke and guitar backstage, and then Tommy said, "Hey, you want to jump on during my set?" And so we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I think in terms of which moment was scarier, Santana or Tommy Manuel, I
Yeah.
think I'd have to say the Tommy Manuel uh, show was scarier because I
Okay.
knew how fast Tommy can play,
Yeah.
and I had to keep up on stage, and I knew like Tommy is one of those people where like the songs that he records on the record, like on the album, will be not as fast as how he plays it on stage. So
I
with
I
that
didn't
in
realize
mind,
that.
I had to be like, okay, I think we played Working Man Blues,
Yes,
and
that's.
yeah, and so I knew, okay, we didn't rehearse it at all,
You're
and
kidding.
there was no rehearsal for the song at all. So I hopped on stage,
Oh
and I was like, okay,
my
I need to
goodness.
I need to play as many notes as he plays. I need to keep up with my four strings. So I did my best.
Well, you did great. I didn't know that you didn't practice because I was going to ask, so
Mhm.
how did you prepare for that, Because, I mean, it's a fairly
Uh-huh.
standard blues arrangement.
Right.
But, there's call and response in the middle of there that you're going
Yeah.
trading, So, wow.
I had to
How,
uh, use whatever brain power I had to remember what he played and tried to play the same thing but better.
well, it
Yeah, so
sounds
that
like
was a
you,
really really fun challenge. But yeah, I think
wow.
that was probably the scariest. What was scary about the Santana concert was just the fact that he's been an idol of mine for my entire career, and
Really?
it was
Okay.
a sold out show at the Blaisdell, 20,000 people, and that
Wow.
was I think the most I've ever performed for. So that
So
was
how did
also
you
no
even get back?
preparation.
So how'd you even get backstage? Is this, a Wayne's World story or something? How'd you do that?
Well, I found out that he was gonna be here to start his tour, and I was in contact with his management at the time. So I wrote an email to his manager, and his manager said, "Hey, yeah, he would love to meet you. So come to the concert, show up at this time at this
Wow.
door, and this person will take you to this person. This person will take you to another person." And it was just like a bunch of red tape to kind of get backstage
Sure.
and all that stuff.
And you get that
Um,
backstage pass and woohoo
yeah, yeah,
with the
yeah. It's
with
it's
the Wayne's
it's a
World.
really cool feeling. Totally.
Oh no.
Um, so we made it backstage, and Carlos
Wow.
was there with his wife Cindy, and we're all just kind of hanging out backstage. And that was actually the next day, after I got my custom kamaka. So I brought it with me with the sole intent of having him autograph it. Because I thought,
Oh,
okay, I haven't ever performed with this uke before. I want it signed by Carlos Santana. That's like good juju for my uke. And then
sure.
he's like,
Absolutely.
"Hey, let's see your uke." So I pulled it out, and he's like, "Do you know any of my songs?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, know Europa and Samba
Europa.
Pati."
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So I played Samba Pati, and then he's like, "Oh, do you want to join us on stage tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
I'd
I
be over there
actually do
going
have
like,
that video where he asked me to play on stage. My mom was there in the room with me, and she
yeah.
was recording as I was playing. So yeah, I do have that video still of him asking me to perform on stage.
Wow. Wow. I'd be like, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
It
'Cause,
was a really crazy experience too. Just they had put us up fourth row center stage in the audience, and
ooh.
Carlos said, "Okay, one of my guys is gonna come get you, and give you maybe about 30 minutes before you come up on stage."
Yeah.
It
Oh
ended up
man.
being 30 seconds. So one of the security guards
Oh, did I say
came and
30
ran to
minutes?
the.
I meant 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was 30 seconds. So his security guard grabbed me from where I was sitting, and escorted me backstage, and I'm sitting right behind his drummer. And
Mm,
yeah, it was
wow.
just super loud and super super crazy. I remember being so nervous after he asked me, and I'm sitting in the fourth row center stage,
Yeah.
and I don't remember the entire first half of the concert because I was
I
so
can imagine.
nervous about the fact that
Yeah.
I'm playing, with him. So
Mm-hmm.
all I remember was just like sticking up my hand, and my hand is shaking. That's
Yeah.
all I
No.
remember from the show. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Hey, not to geek out too much, but did they have onstage wedges, or do they use in ears there
I think
for stage
they had a
monitors?
few on stage wedges, but
Oh,
most
very good.
people had monitors. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Santana had in ear, but
Mhm.
good thing that they had those because then at least probably the sound guy. Did you? I'm assuming the sound guy was sharp enough to add you into the wedge, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
wasn't too
See,
concerned about that because yeah, being in a stadium like that, it's gonna be a
yeah,
lot of
I would
sound
be like,
deflection.
I can't hear myself. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So yeah, Doug can geek out because he's the sound guy. He would have been the sound guy putting you into the wedges probably if he would
No,
have gotten.
I would not be, because monitor engineering is a whole nother beast. I'm a front of house engineer.
Is that right? I didn't know that
Yeah.
they were so different.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's like the monitor engineer has a lot more to do with the relationship between the engineer and each individual performer.
Oh
Um,
yeah, because they
and
got
uh, and I'd much rather sit out at front of house and go, yeah, that whole thing sounds like what I want,
right.
as opposed to
I
Rather
I'm going to
than
see.
make a
Yeah.
mix for you
seven
and of
different
you.
wedges that sound different.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and putting the right mix in there, and I'd be going more cowbell in mine, please. Do you get that one, Doug? Yeah, of course you do.
What
Of
do,
course.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
Okay. Oh, you got to put the cowbell link in here. If anyone out there has not seen the more cowbell sketch from Saturday Night Live, come on, get yourself a life. Click on the link and watch the whole video, and you'll know what we're talking about. And you might hear a little bit of a cough from Brittni. You just got over COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. I did
So
so well at avoiding it for almost 3 years. And
wow.
then it finally caught up to me. So yeah, I was down for about a week, and
Okay,
yeah,
that's well, that's
it was
sad,
pretty
but
bad. It was pretty bad, but I'm on the mend. I'm testing negative. I've been testing negative for a week now, so
oh great.
yeah,
Okay, good.
just a little bit of a sniffles and a cough left.
That is awesome. I mean, that's all right. Wow. You already mentioned the now. So I can't remember. Did you do a solo with Santana? I can't remember if it was more of doing the melody or what did you guys do during that?
I think, well, being that it was Samba Pati, we kind of switched off doing the melody and then like
Okay.
filler things here and there. Yeah, so it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Just yeah, being able to throw musical, sentences back and forth with someone of his stature. You
Yeah.
know, it's totally different. Understanding music when you're up on stage with someone as compared to watching them from the audience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it you know that is the amazing thing is that some people might have thought, oh yeah, you must have been. Well, I kind of thought, well, you at least practiced, right? But no, you
No.
just no. Okay, so yeah, that is the cool thing, and for the performers out there, what's it like, you know, playing that way? Because you kind of have to have this not ESP or sixth sense, but you kind of got to know things about
Hmm.
playing and trading, you know, trading back and forth, call and response kind of stuff. So tell me about that.
Hmm.
How do you prepare for that?
Um, Practice. Practice
Practice.
at home by
Oh,
yourself. Yeah. No, but really, music theory. There's a lot of
oh really? Yeah.
you don't need to necessarily know everything there is to know about music theory, but it's
Mm-hmm.
important to know what signs to look for within the music itself that's going to tell you which direction it's going to go. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
the most basic one that I can explain would be the chord G7. G7 needs to have a resolution, so it can resolve to, typically C or F,
Mm-hmm.
if we're in the key of C. So, if you know that you played an F and you have a G7 that's right after that, more times than not, you're gonna go to C.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things like that do take time to identify, and not just picking up musical cues, but also you know physical cues that the other musicians that you're
Yeah.
playing with are giving out, and just kind of reading their facial expressions, watching, if their movements
Mm-hmm.
get a little more intense, that might mean that they are preparing to start the solo on the next, top of the bar.
Oh,
So,
very good.
yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah. So I kind of take it as there's a technical part, like of the
Hmm.
G7. So we're probably going to the tonic. So
Right.
and that's a good, by the way, that's a good way of figuring out what key you're in, right? Is if you
Hmm.
see a dominant seventh um,
Yeah.
uh, in a certain sequence, it's probably going to resolve. And then the kind of the I don't know, when you get attuned kind of thing is what you were talking about, right? When you kind of read the body language or you're
Hmm.
listening to the music and you're going, this person's going this, doing this.
Hmm.
Um, that is really good advice because I
Hmm.
know that, you know, I know a lot of people appreciate that. How do I want to say this nicely? I take it that you're one of those people that are in attuned. And then if you're not one of those people that are in tune with the other musician, it can really distract from the music.
Yeah.
Not in a
Yeah.
good way either.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
It's really important to have that musical awareness in what's going on, around you. It's like
yeah,
situational
yeah.
awareness, but for music,
Yes, yes.
and
Yeah.
kind of going on like the filler, not the filler, but like the body language that you're reading from your other musicians or what you're hearing them play. It's not just limited to the front men that you're with. It's also,
Mm-hmm.
what's the bass doing, what's the drums doing. Drums
Yeah.
is going to be like your next biggest thing. If you have like an end of a phrase coming up, they're usually going to do some gigantic fill, and then come back in
Yeah.
with a steady beat on the one. So yeah, there's many different musical cues that will help you navigate your way through.
So I like that idea of the situational awareness
Mm-hmm.
thing where you know musical awareness. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure someone's already come up with a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very
I'm
cool.
sure.
Well, and another great way to, and I know I've said this before, another great way to kind of train your ear to kind of listen to what's going on around you is to play in a group like the Denver
Mm-hmm.
Ute community. Come on down, play with us live, and but part of playing in a group, of course, is to listen, trying to
Right.
figure out who's the leader and when they're gonna do their and it's really good training.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
There you
can't
go.
suggest that highly enough. Not that being the leader of that club, of course, I'm going to endorse
Yeah,
that. But
for sure, for sure. That's what we're all about here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would exactly encourage all you ukulele players out there who want to go to the next level. I think being in a group like that is awesome. It's a next
Mm-hmm.
step. And the other nice thing about places like the Denver ukulele community is that they're very accepting and they have opportunities for you to do solos. And I think there's a standing procedure where you will always be very well received uh, doing a solo, regardless of what you do, and that is good.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're listening to, well, and we've had lots of people that have said, I could never imagine uh, getting up in front of 20,000 people. Oh my goodness. But getting up in
Yeah.
front of 40 people or 30 people,
Hmm.
um but the idea that we're all ukulele players and we all are just so happy that you're there. And being able to, like, it's baby steps that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can I can play by myself, and then I can play in front of a small group, and then a larger group. And so it's well, and playing, I think, is the biggest thing. Being able to really get to know your instrument and play
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah. And I'm gonna jump back for Brittany. I had these questions and then I forgot to ask them. So where did you grow up in
So I was
Hawaii?
born and raised in Hilo on the Big Island,
Nice.
and I moved to Honolulu about just over 3 years ago.
Oh wow. So just recently.
Yeah,
Oh
pretty recent.
wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Calabash uncle in Hilo, the Shikumas, Feet Shikuma. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you know him, Elaine
Mm-hmm.
Shikuma. Do you
Yeah.
really know him? Are you just saying that? No.
No, no, I do.
No
Yeah.
way. Oh,
Yeah.
no way. All right, I'm gonna write him at Christmas. Hey, met Brittany on
Uh-huh.
my podcast. Oh, that's wild. I mean, okay, I was gonna say, you might know him because Hilo is relatively small, although, it's
Right.
gotten
Yeah.
bigger recently, right? Or is it still pretty small?
Um, it's still pretty small. I think yeah, people are, moving to Big Island more now. So
Oh,
yeah, it's there's a lot more traffic than there used to be.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Even though they had that big eruption, oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
what was it, 3 years
Mauna Loa is
ago?
actually about to erupt any day, I think.
Mauna Loa, what
Yeah.
the heck?
There's been a
You're
lot of
kidding.
earthquakes on this around the summit of Mauna Loa. So
What?
I think they're at a yellow or orange advisory
Oh
now.
no. All
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. But yeah, there's like a few steam vents on the hillside that have opened up.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, there's that.
So people who aren't familiar with the Big Island, Kilauea was the main source of eruptions for a long, long time, and then there was Kilauea Iki off the whatever the south. Where is it? Where was it? Where's the new island being formed?
Moihi is off the southeast side.
Southeast. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been the main activity. I didn't know that Mauna Loa was acting up.
Hmm.
That's like scary,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah, there was I think there was like a five point something earthquake just a couple weeks ago. But
wow.
every excuse me, every day it's been, yeah, many small earthquakes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that
wow.
should be interesting.
One of our friends and podcasters who lives on the Big Island, as we were podcasting, he said, "Yeah, there's a about 300 yards that way. There's a lava fountain in my backyard. Not in his literally in his backyard, but
Uh-huh.
300 yards away. It was like, whoa, yeah, okay, what?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
see, Stuart, did you put all this in because, oh, well, I haven't told you yet. So Kai and I are celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary this year. And
yeah.
so we're going to Hawaii right after Thanksgiving. We're flying out to
Wow.
Oregon and then from Oregon out to Hawaii. And I'm so excited. But
Oh.
now should I pack heavy boots? Would that help? Or
Asbestos suits. I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah, one of those heavy duty ventilators for the sulfur. Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you have sensitive lungs, that stuff from the volcano is pretty noxious. So
Hmm.
yeah, be careful.
Yeah. I think
Really?
you'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Mauna Loa will hold off for a little while, and
Hmm.
Kilauea, I think, is done for a little bit. Did they open up the roads, by the way? So yeah, hey,
I
let's
think some
let's
of
give
them
Doug
they
some
did.
help. Yeah. So are you going
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
Big
for sure.
Island? Are you going to the Big Island, Doug?
We're going to Kauai.
Okay.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
fine.
very good.
They that is the oldest island or oldest inhabited island. So it went
Mm.
from Kauai down to the Big Island. So yeah, you're totally fine. But I mean, come on. Go to the Big Island too. But oh, by the way, Kauai, you know who lives on Kauai, right?
I do not.
You're kidding me. Aldrin
Oh,
Guerrero.
very good.
He lives on
Well,
Kauai,
ooh,
dude.
Hmm.
the
North.
yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah,
Go,
hit him
go hang out
up.
with Aldrine.
Hang out with Aldrin.
Hmm.
He's in. I think he's up north now, right? Forget where he's living now. Anyway, and he has a regular gig at one of the hotels or restaurants around there. So yeah, hit him up.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you're not going to go to the Big Island, although I would recommend that. I don't
Well,
know.
so
Hmm.
we're gonna. I don't know. Kai Holtenbrown, my darling wife, put it all together,
Okay,
and
yeah.
she is doing a fantastic job of it.
Well, that's great. Well, just let her know that Brittni probably knows the Big Island pretty well. Okay, Brittni, where would you for ukulele stuff? What's happening on the Big Island nowadays?
Um, Honestly, not that much. I would say
Yeah.
for any ukulele related things, Oahu is your place to go.
Wow. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So Doug, although I have a soft spot for Hilo because of the Shikumas,
Hmm.
yeah, ukulele wise sounds like Oahu's the hopping place, and
Yeah.
that's where Brittany is anyway too. So there you go. She's over there. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Okay, I talked to some people a little bit about this, but not a real like Kamaaina who grew up there. Um, and one of these days, I do want to get Calais on the show.
Absolutely.
So when I was growing up, ukulele and I'm old, okay. So but way back then, the ukulele was not cool. All right, we all wanted to
Hmm.
play guitar, and I loved the group Kalapana. Do you
Hmm.
remember them? See, and by the way, Kalapana, yes, there is actually a place on the Big Island called Kalapana.
Yeah.
Anyway, so ukulele not cool. What was it like for you? You know, was it that way or was it like pretty much accepted?
I think that was around the time that Jake started to get really popular. So,
Ah.
yes, it was just reaching that like cool phase when I started. Um, Yeah, so learning the ukulele, I was one of those kids where, like, people made fun of. So I was homeschooled, and
Oh, wow.
contrary to what people might think about homeschoolers not having to deal with bullies, that is completely not true. So, the kids that I would hang around with, well, not really, I would want to hang around with, they all played
Right,
ukulele,
right.
and
Oh, really?
they would make fun of me and like like bully me because I wanted to hang around with them. They were, a couple of boys that were, a couple of years older than I was, and they were the
Oh,
only ones that would play. So I would want to go and
mm,
play. And this is, 11, 12-year-old me.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, so yeah, so I'd go and try to hang out, and they would bully me, call me names, and tell me go away. So,
Wow.
when I started to, get in with my career and, with all that stuff, they messaged me. This is years later on MySpace. They messaged me and they're like, "Hey, if you ever need a, backup musician, let me know." I'm like,
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I
"Sure."
remember you. Are you the
Yeah,
moke that used
you
to
called me a
bully
baboose the
Millie?
whole time. Yeah. So, so yeah, it's funny, but yeah, that was like, they all wanted to play Jake's stuff. I wanted to, play Herb's stuff. I knew some of Jake's stuff, but and I
Ah,
would try to go and jam with them, and they would just stop playing and be like, "You're just get out of here. You're weird."
wow.
So,
Because you
yeah,
you didn't want to play Jake and you oh, wow.
yeah. So
Interesting.
that was, Jake was, Jake is a wonderful guy, and he was very
He he
instrumental,
is.
no pun intended, at, getting the
Ah!
ukulele to
Oh,
a cool
he was
place.
instrumental. Like, wait, you've been
Instrumental.
taking lessons from Doug. Okay. Have you been listening to the show and listening to Doug? Oh my gosh.
No,
S-
actually, my sense of humor is just like that.
Oh, you're
But
Well,
double.
yeah,
then
so
let me suggest Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story to you, because you will totally dig it.
I
So
love
it.
stand up comedy.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful guy.
Mm.
So this is interesting. This is different than what I thought because I just was so the other thing that maybe is common is so would you classify these guys as mokes or just bullies? I don't know.
Nah,
I
just
nah. Okay.
yeah, not most for sure, not most.
Okay. Moke is maybe
Yeah,
at a
just
different level.
yeah. Mocha is like, um, wearing your OSHA yellow long sleeve construction T-shirt, uh, sunglasses, gold chain.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, they got the
yeah,
gold chain going.
got the gold chain in there.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I was actually bullied by Mokes when I was in high school, or was that was yeah that was high school
Mm.
mainly. Yeah, yeah. You know the famous phrase they had used to have back then. You know, you'd go to the restroom and they go, "Hey, brother, hey, like bar quarter." It's like, yeah, like you're ever gonna give this back to me?
Oh
Sorry,
man.
sorry. But that was a famous line. Everyone knew what was coming when they heard that
Mm.
one. Hmm. All right, so
Yeah.
well, that's different. So you really wanted to play the ukulele, but then
Mm.
these guys were like, "Oh no, that's an exclusive club, huh?" That
Yeah.
is
Basically.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's kind of just as bad because the other reason I didn't want to play the ukulele was that the Mokes would be playing it, in the back of the bus, and
Hmm.
be like, okay, whatever. I want Sweet Home Alabama and Kalapana. But uh,
Right. Right.
okay. So then after that, so how did you overcome that kind of
I just knew I
obstacle?
wanted to play, so I did a lot of practice at home by myself, and besides that, nothing else really. Um,
Wow.
and then yeah, so I went into the studio. I think when I was about 13 or 14,
Okay,
and
come
I
on.
went
Oh,
in.
this is oh wow.
Well, I went in purely with the intention of doing a demo record, and at the time there were still some record
Wow.
label people here in the industry, so
Hmm.
I went in to do a demo and to send it to those people. And when I was in the studio, doing my songs, a friend of mine said, "Hey, since you're in the studio, you might as well just do a whole album." So I did, and
Wow.
I decided, maybe I'll just release it, on my own. I don't need a record label. I'll just put it out there and
Uh,
see what happens.
yeah.
And the following year, I was winning Most Promising Artist for that album at the Hokus.
Oh, wow. Wow. The
So,
Yay!
yeah.
That's a great
thank you.
story.
Thank you.
Oh, and what the award? Oh, why can't I think of it? Uh that award show they have, Hawaiian music.
The Nahoku Hano Hano Awards.
Nahoku.
Hmm.
Yes, the Nahoku
Actually,
Awards.
do I have that one up here? Actually, do have it here.
Ooh, oh, show it. Okay, lower,
Yeah.
lower. No, that's great.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, this is when you were 13. That is
Hmm.
incredible. Okay, so see, that's what it takes, I guess, sometimes is that you just,
Determination and just not caring about, what your
yeah,
peers are saying, which is,
well,
it
yeah,
is
focus
it's an
and
easy
practice
concept
too.
to understand, but it's harder to actually practice. You know.
Yeah, well, for sure. Uh, okay, so you did this. I'm still like, you just went into the studio and
Hmm.
did that. I mean, where did you think? I'm not quite sure how. At that age, wanting to go in, was it a lot of songs that you already had? Did you covers? What was your plan there?
I think my plan was just to record, whatever I felt like recording. So, I think most of the songs I initially planned to do were covers. There
Hmm.
were, I think, uh, two or three originals that I ended up putting on that album, on the Brittni Times Three album. Um, yeah, I don't remember how many originals, but yeah. So I went in to do just a couple songs and ended up doing, I think, 14 songs.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good length album.
Yeah. At that.
Is that the Tell You What album? The
No, that's the Brittni Times Three album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's way back.
That's I there is a link to a Frolic Hawaii uh, uh, magazine article about the 2013 uh,
Hmm.
awards that you won, and yes,
Right.
indeed.
Yeah. Wow. So, what was the award in 2013?
2013 was actually a double award win for me. So that was Ukulele Album of the Year and Instrumental
Really?
Composition. Yeah. So
Really?
instrumental composition
Whoa.
is basically like instrumental song of the year.
Wow.
So
I mean, out of
yeah, so that was
the
a
whole.
really wonderful night
Wow. Okay. So, wait a minute. Like, out of everyone, it wasn't just the ukulele category. It was like just in general
for the
that the
instrumental
instrument.
composition. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, still, I mean, I'm sure there was like a lot of slack key and I don't know what else, but
Yeah, there was a lot of different compositions, and they're all wonderful songs. And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
to be selected by your peers, to have what they think is the best song that was written, instrumental song that was written that year. It's a huge
Right,
honor.
right.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is great because everyone thinks of Jake Shimabukuro and awesome guy, amazing player, all of that stuff, right? And really
Hmm.
just humble and when I've met him at least it's been awesome. So
Hmm.
his style I would say is one eh, but you mentioned something the Herb Ota and I'm
Hmm.
assuming you meant Herb Ota Jr. or
Yeah,
did you mean
Junior.
senior? Okay, yeah.
Junior.
And the style is awesome and different from Jake. I mean, he's not the
Hmm.
mm, I don't know what you want to say, but it it, it it's Jake is a lot of flash, really great lines. I love his solos, and still that's Jake. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of amazed that you got that award. What do you think it's what do you think that is the key to your what you like to do? as opposed to maybe
Um,
a flashier style or faster style.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think for me, the thing that kind of drew me to the uke and kind of kept me there was seeing the beauty through songs that are not so flashy. Um,
Mm. Hmm.
so at the time I picked up the ukulele, I had already been playing piano for about 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
did have an understanding of music, and I understood what flashy music is. I understood what slow melodic music is as well. So
Mm.
having being able to tell musically the difference between the two, um, I just fell more in love with Herb's style over Jake's.
Mm.
Not saying
Hmm.
that I didn't like Jake's style. I just rather would learn Herb's stuff than
Hmm.
Jake's.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think just trying to pull the beauty out of something slow. And I tell all my students this too. It's harder to practice slow and play slow
Hmm.
music than it is to play fast music. And that's always been a thing for me. When I play, is that how can I draw as much feeling out of this piece with less notes.
Mm.
How can I make someone fall in love with how that sounds and be drawn into it just as much as someone playing really fast.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Really good advice. And I'm sure, and in fact, I know that even Jake Shimabukuro would say that too. He talks about, when you're practicing, practice
Hmm.
slow, and then, if you want to go to hyperspeed, awesome. That's not his words. That's my words. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've tried the hyperspeed stuff, and I just don't have the chops for that. So I kind of, you know, I do think that the getting a great feel and melody is so
Hmm.
important, and so
Totally.
that is something I'm sure has done you well. Um,
Hey,
speaking
I was
of,
gonna really quick ask you about where's the best place to get your music because the on your website you seem to only have the one the tell you what I but there's a ton of albums on Apple Music,
Hmm.
including is it Black Bow?
Yeah. Yeah. Black Bow.
It, well, I wasn't sure with the V in there if it was Black Bow or
Yeah. It's
um,
it's an upside down A. Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
that is really cool. I really like that.
Thank
The
you.
little bits and pieces of it that I've listened to, just fantastic.
Thank you.
so where
So
does
all of my
where did you go?
ukulele music is available, digitally. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube. It's all available there. My website, I do have some Tell You What CDs, so I do sell those physically on my website. But as far as like the Black Bow stuff and anything that's not done with ukulele that you find on Spotify and Apple Music, that features me more as a producer rather than an ukulele player. For the Black Bow stuff, those are original songs that I wrote with my friend Jasmine, and that was kind of our duo thing that we had going for a while. And we have a bunch more songs that we're still going to release in the future. So, but those are original pieces where I wrote the music, she wrote the lyrics, and I did majority of
Cool.
production and the guitar solos as well.
Oh, wow. So you did some guitar solos.
Hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. For our listeners, then, okay, so what I'm hearing then is go to Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify. Those are the key
Hmm.
places to get your music.
Yeah. Hmm.
Cool. Yeah, us old guys still like physical media, so that's where we're stumped right now. It's like,
Uh huh.
what? You can't get a CD?
Yeah, actually, I have to think. Like, I don't even own a CD player anymore. My computer doesn't have one. My car has one, but I don't ever use
Uh,
it.
yeah.
So everything is all digital.
I know, I know. Um, no, I'm still old school because there's surround sound music, but maybe we'll
Hmm.
talk about that in a little bit because actually that is something. Getting back to what you said though, in your collab with your friend on the Black Bow, you said I'm the producer on there. So I think the maybe our audience isn't all like in the music biz. So what's a producer as opposed to a
So,
performer?
a producer, my camera's out of focus. 1 second. Okay. Um, so producer actually had a different meaning before. It still kind of holds that meaning depending on the project, but um, before days, a producer was someone who would give musical direction in the project. Today, a producer is typically someone who will record all of the instruments, do all of the beats, everything on the computer. So that's what I did, for that project and my newer
Very
ukulele
cool.
things as well. Yeah, so I would sit here, in my studio and record everything on my
Yeah.
own. So I would do all the instrumentation, the arrangements, every single instrument that you hear,
Wow. Okay, that's very cool. So you did the drum sequencing and all that kind of good stuff.
everything. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, I and it is interesting how you mentioned something that is very true that in the back in the day a producer could be more of like he or she would find the players,
Hmm.
get the arrangements, and advise on here's the sound you want and so forth,
Right.
and he or she didn't even necessarily wasn't the recording engineer.
Hmm.
So what role do you have there in terms of recording? Were you also doing any recording, or is it mainly just sequencing?
I do recording as well. So for the ukulele remix of Second Nature, that one I recorded here in my studio. Let's see, "Prayed for You," which is a Matt Stell country song cover. That one I also recorded and did all of the sequencing and everything. Let's see, pretty much everything after "Prayed for You" and up until now is all done and recorded here.
Wow, in
Yeah.
your own home
Hmm.
studio.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. I, I really have this urge to geek out here, but let's try and bring it back to um, let's try and bring it back to ukulele. So, what do you think this is gonna? What would your advice in terms of ukulele players out there? Because there's all styles,
Hmm.
recreational ones that go like to do ukulele clubs, and then
Hmm.
there's ones that want to maybe record. So, what kind of starting with just a hobbyist, going all the way to, I want to get into the music industry. Where does understanding recording and producing fit in here?
Um,
And let's start off with the, our maybe the majority of our listeners who are like,
sure.
I like to play ukulele and I really dig Brittni, how she plays. But what is producing? Where does that fit in?
Producing, I think, fits in after you have developed a style, a certain sound, and you are confident that you're able to get, clean notes, and you're basically just on that cusp of being a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to producing and engineering and recording, all of that stuff, um, it's something completely different. It makes you think about how you play in a completely different light. Um, learning about how far to place your microphone from your uke,
Mm-hmm.
where to place it, how your room needs to sound, what kind of recording, software and equipment do you have. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things can be overwhelming, and even it's stressful for me too sometimes still. When I have to set up my own mic and I'm recording myself because
Mm-hmm.
one, I have ADHD, and so that there's that part of it, where I'm hyper focusing on things. Um, but um, when when I sit here, I'm constantly having to move my microphone and making sure that it stays in this general area so that I get a very clean sound and that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
clipping, that my compression is not too much or not too little, making sure my preamps are all set. Yeah, so there's a lot of awareness that goes into how everything sounds, your recording
Yeah.
environment.
Well, I like the idea that you just brought up of the awareness because
Hmm.
I think that for someone just starting off or
Hmm.
mainly as a ukulele hobbyist, I think just trying to record yourself and
Hmm.
being aware of the sound is a really
Hmm.
huge thing. I'm not
Right.
saying that you have to do it to make yourself sound like Brittni, but just getting getting a sound,
Right.
I think
Hmm.
is a good exercise. And what are
Well,
your
and
thoughts?
Definitely. And even, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say one of the things that I tell people is that knowing just a little bit about recording and about microphone placement and uh, and things like that. Uh, if you do get into a situation where you're going to be performing on a stage, uh, being able to say, that guy didn't set up this mic the way that I wanted to, you're going to have a better outcome because you have an idea of what
Hmm.
you're looking for. So you don't necessarily have to be the best engineer, but knowing that draping a 58 over the top of an amplifier at the end of the chord is not going to get you the sound that you necessarily want.
Yeah.
Um, being able to be an informed consumer will be of assistance. Yeah.
Right.
And what were you going to
Yeah,
say,
definitely.
Brittany? Yeah.
I don't remember. uh, I'll remember eventually.
All right, don't worry. Jump in
Yeah.
anytime. But I was gonna say, Doug, I that draping the 58 over the amp cone. I always thought that was the way to record it. So I'm glad you brought that up.
I mean, like it's a way. Um,
No, no,
But
don't
uh,
do
but see
this.
that's the difference between a live sound guy and a studio guy, because a live sound
Hmm.
guy is like, oh, we're gonna drape a 58 over it, and the studio guy will say, oh, well, I want a ribbon mic 3 feet out from the
Well,
on
no,
axis, and then
I would still say
I'm
put it
gonna
on the.
take a DI out of it so I can mix those two together. But then I also want to get a like a SM81 for
Yeah,
room noise, and I'm going
right.
to mix all of these together. And so I think a nice balance between the two
Yeah,
is what I
yeah.
always go
No,
for.
I think if a live guy did that, I'd be like, no, come on. I know we're not doing a record here, or but come on, just point it point it off axis from the cone, please. Just, anyway, good one. Oh, so speaking of that collab, um, that you did one that you released a snippet called Smile, I think.
Smile. Yeah.
Yeah. So where is that? Is that like you're getting more into looping, and where's that taking you here?
So, Smile is actually, I released it. I did like no PR on it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I just released it as like an experiment to see. I don't know. I just made it and I released it. But I released it under my moniker B.exe, and it has two. Actually, it's really like a nerdy term. B because Brittni, and .exe because it's a computer program.
Ah,
So
okay. I was gonna
it's
say.
a lo-fi track. Um, and I guess lo-fi is like a really popular genre of music today, where people just put it on and they relax to it. And
Oh, is that what
how
that
Smile
low?
sounds, yeah, that's what lo-fi is, and how Smile sounds is in that genre. So I did
Okay.
all the programming and everything, and it's most lo-fi songs are like less than 2 minutes. They're very short. So
Oh,
a lot of them are
oh man.
very repetitive, and
Yeah.
you know yeah. So that was like the
Lo-fi,
first one
huh?
that I ever did
Wow.
right, and I
Okay.
just
So I feel
basically
so out of
sat
touch
here.
now.
I basically
When,
just sat here and decided, like, okay, I want to work on a song, but I don't want to work on anything serious. So I wrote Smile, and I was like, I'm gonna release it. So 6 hours after after I had the concept idea for it, was when I released it.
oh, really? Wow. Okay, that
Yeah,
is quick.
yeah.
Yeah, when you said lo-fi, I thought, oh, what, do you downsample it to 8-bit or something? But no,
Not
it's
quite that low, but yeah. So lo-fi is low fidelity. That's essentially what it stands for, and it's
I guess, but I
having.
didn't.
Oh, go ahead.
No, just so lo-fi meaning when you say low
Meaning like
fidelity
it's
though.
low quality, yeah, low quality samples, and I personally cannot put
Okay.
something out that's going to be low quality. There's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
other elements within the song, like record noise, things like that I will put
Yeah.
in there,
Okay.
but
All right.
I cannot have anything be less than like 1644. That's as low as I'll go. If I could do something insanely high like 88 and 190 whatever on my
Mm-hmm.
computer, then I would. But my computer doesn't have that much power, so I don't.
Yeah. I don't know if anything above 48 kilohertz is really
Mm-hmm.
needed.
It's, yeah, not necessary.
Yeah. I think 24, 48. At least that's what I'm going to go
Mm-hmm.
for.
Yeah.
This is really great to learn about these different genres, and
Mm-hmm.
um, wow. So where do you see maybe going? Are you going more towards producing, still doing ukulele? What do you think you'd like to
I'm
do?
definitely still gonna do ukulele. That's something I'm always gonna do. Um, but I do want to be more of a producer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Producing is something that I've wanted to do since maybe around 2009 or 2010. And I spent,
Wow.
there was a few years where I kind of fell off the face of the earth, I guess, if you will, from 2013 to about 2019 or so. And during that time, because I wasn't performing as much, I spent a lot of time perfecting and learning about production.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
and so I think that just kind of solidified for me where I wanted to go with my career.
Damn.
So
Mm-hmm.
um, so far I've had the Black Bow stuff that I produced. I produced for several other artists. I did a rapper over in Atlanta,
Hmm.
New Era. So his stuff should be coming out soon. Um, and then I've done a few TV shows. And that was a lot of fun.
Ooh. Which
Yeah.
ones?
So I actually did the first one that I ever did was the Merry Monarch Fashion Showcase, which aired locally, I believe, in April
Oh, very
this year.
cool.
So I did all of the
Yeah.
custom music, the production, everything for that. Um,
Wow.
and then yeah, so that's kind of the direction that I want to go, I think. And then I for sure want to produce other ukulele players and kind of give their music a little element of Brittni in it.
Wow. And you know that the licensing for those video stuff is
Hmm.
really good good money.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know, Doug, did I ever tell you about when we got on they picked one of the Bookham Dano songs for Hawaii Five-O? I must have said that. But that was like
Yes. Yes, you
yes,
have mentioned that.
I have because that was probably the pinnacle of my short musical career. But but it's like, oh man, I didn't know that they pay that much for just
Hmm.
getting your music, recorded music. So yeah, that's people make a good living doing that. So I think
Yeah,
that's a lucrative area also.
for
So
sure.
kind of splitting time between now ukulele and producing is what I'm
Hmm.
hearing. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Wow. So what's coming up for you then? Shows, performances,
Yeah, a
recordings.
lot of
What should
lot
we?
of shows. I'm always working on a project for someone. I would like to put out a full album for myself, um, but that's gonna take time, and I would rather not be the one to engineer it because it'll
Mm-hmm.
the re-recording will never stop. So
Ah.
I would rather not be the engineer for that. But yeah, I think just doing more projects for other people. I do teach lessons as well as have my students that I love all of them. Um, yeah, I think just more Britney stuff and yeah,
Wow.
coming up
So
with
if
some new unique things. Yeah.
so is your in terms of teaching, is your dance card full or do you have openings? Do you want people to?
I might have more openings. I do sometimes open my teaching days up. So yeah, best
Okay.
way
All right.
to find out that is to watch my social media. I usually post on
Okay.
there.
And so what's your social media? We can.
So
I think
Facebook
Doug's
is
looking it up.
Brittni Paiva Music. Instagram is at I am Brittni Paiva, and yeah, pretty much just those two. And then I also usually
And
send out an e-blast on my website, so there's the email newsletter list that you can also sign up for.
okay, so if they want to know if there's any openings, sign up for the newsletter on
Hmm.
Brittany's website. And I'm gonna guess that Doug's gonna give us all that information. He is awesome. He is awesome. And Doug, gosh, so good to see you, by the way. So I haven't had Doug on the show for a while, and it's partly my fault because I've been working on a project myself. Um, so Doug, good to see you, and tell us about the Angry Brides.
Oh yes, yes, yes. So we had at National Western. We had a bridal show, which it used to be that we'd get like 400, 500 brides, and it was it was a busy day because it's not a huge show, but still busy. We had 2,700 brides
Wow.
at the National Western, um, and they were all angry. But part of that was that there was so much volume trying to get them in the parking lots was very difficult. But I think
Wow.
everybody had a good time.
Eventually they had a good time. Wow. Okay,
That's
Yeah.
so
crazy.
yeah, for those of you who don't know, Doug does sound at the National Western Stock Show Convention Center, which they have a lovely facility there.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, it's a fantastic place to work. So Brittany, what are some of your favorite ukuleles to play?
Oh yeah.
Ooh. I actually really love playing my Anu Anui UT3K and my 5K.
The
So I
Anui
have my
Nui is very cool. Are those the highly
like
figured ones? Oops. Aich.
uh
You wawa.
oh no, it's so I actually have the bridge down here inside because I was gonna change the strings and I
Uh-huh.
cut them off and then I realized that was my last set, so I can't get
Oh,
some
I
more
hate
till
when that
tomorrow.
happens.
But yeah, so it's stringless at the moment and everything's
Okay,
inside.
I
Um,
got it.
but yeah, so this is my 3K, my UT3K.
That looks bigger than
Has
a
a
tenor. What size is
and
that?
no, it's actually maybe a little bit smaller, I think,
Than
than
a
a
tenor?
Kamako tenor. Yeah,
Really?
just a
All
little
right.
narrower, I believe. So this
Okay.
is yeah, this is the
Cool.
3K and the 5K, which actually does have strings, but it has a high G set. Um, is here.
Ooh,
So this one has some nice curl on it.
very nice curly koa. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And a slotted headstock, which
Ooh.
I think makes a very
Ooh.
big difference in how it plays as well.
Is that right? I was wondering about that, whether that's just a trendy thing or if it actually makes a difference.
I think it makes a difference. Yeah, it
Okay.
definitely has. The strings feel like the tension across the strings is not so drastic, like very hard down here, soft here, and hard here. So it
Wow,
feels
that is
a little more
interesting.
even, and I don't really understand why that is. It could be at the angle at which the strings are being wound. Um,
That makes
yeah,
sense actually because it's wound, yeah, with the axis um,
yeah.
perpendicular to the string versus
Hmm.
the way there's. Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, I started off on classical, so I have
Hmm.
a soft spot in my heart with the slotted headstock.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to have you back on the show when you have your low G's on.
Yeah.
Then you can do an original for us. Sorry, audience out there. We'll get to that. However, that brings up the controversy. Not really. Uh, when we had Aldrine on, there was we always joke about high G versus low G. But so you
Hmm.
play a low G. What
Hmm.
what's the difference to you between the low and the high G, and why?
The style of playing. is very different. But I mean, you know, there's the two crowds. There's the low G crowd and the high G crowd, and you know, I'm in a group chat with Brian Tolentino, Herb Jr., Jake, Craig, and
Oh.
Sarah, and we're all there's the high G crowd and there's the low G crowd, and so we'll just give each other a whole lot of crap, and it's really funny when everybody gets into that high G is better, low G is better, you know, discussion. But you know, it's all in good fun. But I think for me, I like to play the low G because I do tend to play more melodic. Whereas with the high G, I mean, the low G, you cannot, you know, you can't just strum.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
see.
strum. It's not going to sound like that, you know. So the playing style is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, with the low G, I do have that added low range that I could, you know, throw like a little bass line thing in there if I
Right.
decided to. And then with the high G, my style tends to turn into more like a campanella type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a good.
But I
That's
do
a
like
good
to have the option
distinction.
of both. So that's why I have my 3K with the low G and the 5K with the high G.
Got it. Okay. There you go. Well, you have solved all of the controversy around the low and high G. Thank you, Brittany.
Of course.
Oh, and shows. Oh, did you mention shows? What's coming up for you? Do you have any?
Um, I have a bunch of stuff coming up. I'm going to the Big Island next weekend, or at the end of this week, I'm doing two shows with my friend Chardonnay. Um, and so she's a vocalist, so we're doing a couple things there.
Nice.
Now, the following weekend, I believe the 18th and 19th, I'll be back on the Big Island for the 20th annual Ukulele and Slack Guitar Festival up at the Kahilu Theater in Waimea.
Ooh,
And there's going
nice.
to be a concert. I think Jeff Peterson, Nathan Avial, Honoka is going to be there this year. A bunch of really wonderful artists. There's a concert and workshops for that. And then Saturday the 19th, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, is the ukulele picnic concert at the Waikiki Shell. So I'll be doing that too.
Oh, wow. What is that? Uh,
So the ukulele picnic is put on by Sekiguchi, and it's he has a one in Japan that I believe he does every year as well. So he has a bunch of artists coming in for the ukulele picnic concert, um, and so I think it's me, Kuipo Kumukahi, Nue, which is Brian Tolentino, Kamal Hopkins, and Hale Seabury, and some
okay.
other artists as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a great afternoon.
Okay, wait. So the one with is this Nui with Brian
Mm-hmm.
Tolentino.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the other artists there in the group?
Kamal Hopkins, he plays the U bass, and Hale Haku Seabury,
Ooh.
he also plays the ukulele. So yeah,
Okay.
they're amazing
Oh,
guys.
wow. Yeah, we've Brian's a really very cool guy and
Uh-huh.
all good. Doug, are you trying to show something? Trying to add this to the stream? Oh, there it is.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, so wow, is this like is a sponsor is he or she from Japan? Oh,
Kazuyuki Sekiguchi, he's in that first Sekiguchi band. He's in the white
mm-hmm.
in the hat.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's from Japan, and he's been putting on the ukulele picnic here in Hawaii for a number of years. Um, and yeah, so the Ahamele concert is Saturday the 19th at 2 p.m. And I believe that is also free admission too. So if anybody is here on Oahu, they can come to that for free.
Awesome. I don't know if we have I don't, we need to get more people from Hawaii on the show or listening to the show, but yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, that's the other thing that's really interesting is how big Hawaiian music is in
Hmm.
Japan. I
Yeah.
mean, they love that and they love Jake. Have you what's been your experience? Have you been to Japan? What's
I've been to Japan a number of times, and I love it. Every single time, it's so great. Like the food is so good.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the food
I
is
love
really
it.
good.
I love Japan.
Well, and growing up in Hawaii, we have so many great ethnic foods:
Hmm.
Korean, Japanese, Chinese,
Hmm.
Filipino. Um,
Yeah.
and by the way, Paiva is. Let me guess. Okay, I'm gonna guess that is Portuguese, maybe.
Portuguese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Irish?
No, not Irish.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
no.
guess one person came to me a couple years ago and thought it was Finnish, but no, it's
Oh, is
not.
that right?
It's yeah, it's
No.
Portuguese. Yeah. So
Okay, see,
I'm
that's
half
why you picked.
Portuguese, a quarter Danish, eighth Japanese, and an eighth Hawaiian.
Well, see, there's a Danish. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. No kidding. Wow. Well, there you go. That's why, ukulele's in your blood. Get it? Because Portuguese.
yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that is so typically Hawaiian is, it's a
Mhm.
melange of different people's styles, cultures. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah.
Wow, so
Hmm.
you went to Japan. Now, what was that for? Is that performing? What was it?
Yeah, for performances. I think the first trip I went there was back in '07, and I've made a trip every
Wow.
couple of years since then. Um, but yeah,
Dang.
it's so great, being there. And I remember that very first trip I went there, I met Ryo Natayama. He's a wonderful, super talented ukulele player, and he
Mm.
came up to me backstage before the show that I performed at. He didn't speak a word of English, and so he had his translator with him. So we sat down, and he really wanted to jam some music before the show. So we sat down on the couch backstage, and we were playing one of Jake's songs. I don't remember which one, but we were playing one of Jake's songs, and it was crazy at that moment because I didn't at the time understand any Japanese. I mean, with
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
exception of a few words, being from Hawaii. I didn't understand Japanese. He didn't understand English, and yet we were able to communicate through music, and we understood each other.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that was like, yeah, it was a really cool experience. So, um, but yeah, so now he actually speaks English, and
No, no
such an
kidding.
amazing ukulele player. Yeah.
Yeah, and really, you're not making that up, in that music is like a
Hmm.
universal language. If you understand
Yeah.
music, you can communicate with someone,
Hmm.
maybe not in the normal sense of, I'd like um, you know, I'd like some poke
Hmm.
with a side of rice, but you
Oh,
can,
where is the bathroom? Mhm.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, Brittany, don't encourage Doug. Really, we're gonna.
I mean, as
Oh,
long
I
as long as
missed.
what you play sounds like crap, I'm sure they can figure out that you're trying to ask where the bathroom
Yeah.
is.
Oh, wow. See, there you go. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have you
Awesome.
back on the show. Doug's already think you're awesome. I know he already thought you're awesome, but now
Thank
he
you.
really, yeah. I'm outnumbered now. All right. Okay, so we definitely want to have you back on the show, because I did. We will get you so you can do a song.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I think we've gone through pretty much all my questions. Doug, did you have anything?
Nope, I'm doing awesome.
You are doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. And I'm so glad that those angry brides did not catch up to you, and that everything turned out okay.
See, that was the great thing is one of the things that my favorite thing to do, well, is to mix audio, but then my second favorite thing is to help with parking, because most of the time I can go out and sit in like the furthest out parking lot and just play ukulele and get paid for it. So
Oh,
it's like
oh,
being
oh,
a professional
shh.
ukulele guy. But
You
that
shouldn't.
day it was
Yeah.
all move your car over here. And I saw this lady coming, and she was coming and coming and coming. I'm like, oh. But then my boss was standing right next to me. She's like, oh, I want to tell you. I'm like, right there, right over there is who you need to talk to. Mhm. So it
Hand
was great.
signals off. You weren't kidding about the angry brides. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
no, like they were all. Well, I mean, there were some there that were happy, which is funny because we had to go through that 25 years ago, and like our, I mean, part of the reason that Kai Holtenbrand is my favorite is that like our wedding was super awesome, just super laid back, and
Hmm.
everybody like. as much as I remember, I remember everybody being super happy with everything. So, but mhm.
uh, all right. So good on you. So glad to hear that. And I was going to mention too, and so this is self promotion right now. Uh, we just, a friend of mine, Paul Martin, and I just got done with a presentation on spatial plant music, and we're going to create generative music from a plant so that you can measure the conductivity of plant leaves and yourself, by the way, too, and
Oh,
then you turn
nice.
those varying
You
signals
can
in.
measure it yourself, or you can measure
No,
yourself.
both,
Well, and
both,
and
both.
if you measure yourself,
Yes.
is that never mind? I'm just gonna. Wait, what
Yeah,
were you saying, Stuart?
you better drop it. Yeah, let's keep it there.
So
So
how's
you
them
can,
Yankees?
yeah. um, so you can uh, translate the fluctuations in the conductivity into musical notes. So there's a little microprocessor and does that, and then
Hmm.
we're taking that generative music from the plant, and then he does his so he calls me the plant whisperer, and he calls himself Paul the plant manipulator, because then he takes all those MIDI notes and then he manipulates them into something musical. So you can
Huh.
grab MIDI notes and then uh,
Hmm.
the plants don't understand rhythm necessarily, right? They just
Hmm.
send out signals. So he takes those MIDI notes and then if he locks them to a beat, and
Hmm.
then
Nice. That's
we can
cool.
put it into a different key, and then he can say, these notes are going to be percussion and these notes are going to be whatever pads and stuff. Anyway, and by the way, lots of people have done this. This has been around for a while. And then what he adds in is that he creates spatial music. So Brittni, is this are people getting into that? Because it seems like there's going to be a huge, um I don't know, call it revolution, but people are getting into Atmos music and spatial music in
Hmm.
general. Is
Yeah,
that
for
something
sure.
that you've been?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very far fetched aspiration for me right now because I need a lot of space for Atmos. But yeah, I would love to
Oh, okay.
do an Atmos record.
Well, so here's what we're planning on doing, and maybe you can do this. We're gonna do all the tracks and mix it down to just stereo, right? But then,
Hmm.
Paul has well, we know a guy who has an Atmos studio, so we may have him either mix it down into Atmos, or Paul is putting together his own Atmos sound thing.
Hmm.
But um, so I think there's going to be people out there who are going to specialize in mixing in Atmos.
Hmm.
So
Definitely,
there you
yeah. There's
go.
a lot of places in LA that do that.
They already do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. All right, so we're on the right track, maybe. Who knows?
cool.
So that's
That's
our next.
fascinating.
That's my next project. Yeah, and I'm gonna mix it in with some theories from a book called Healing Songs by Ted Gioia, and
Okay.
his theory is that he's done a lot of research into music, and one of the things that he's saying is that there's a rhythmic part of the music that if sustained and we can focus in on it for like at least 10 minutes, it can actually provide positive benefits,
Hmm.
kind of like a meditation or meditative state. So
Hmm.
anyway, we're going to try and mix all those ideas together into an album.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really cool.
Thank you. Well, Brittni, I don't know, anything else you want to tell us about, or I mean, it's such a good time with you here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me today. I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't
Nothing
think
else
so.
to promote? I mean, you've got such an amazing career. I'm
I
just blown away how
actually
young
do
you
have a
started.
song. Thank you.
Yes.
I do have a song that, well, a remix that I did for my friend Chardonnay. Um, that just came out yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Ooh, okay.
So
Yeah.
if you like EDM and electronic music,
Yeah, there you
this is
go.
a remix of one of her songs. So that's on Spotify and Apple Music as well.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
what is for us old
So
folks?
it's
What is
called it's
EDM?
called Hanaho. EDM is electronic dance music.
Ah, okay. Actually, that's
Yeah,
been around for a while. Okay, I take that back.
yeah.
I've heard of it. Hanaho, great. Yes, that is a popular Hawaiian phrase. What
hmm
and so you did a remix of that.
I did a remix. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do
So
you use
her
what kind?
original version is very island style. Laid back, very relaxing, and then I kind of threw it into EDM. So my
Cool.
remix is up there. Yeah. So if you just search for
Wow.
Brittni Paiva, it'll come up.
Nice.
Or
Wow.
you
So
could go to the show notes, and there is a link to a YouTube video of that. It's right there.
very cool. That is cool. So you are into a quite a wide range of music. I mean, from
hmm
EDM to lo-fi to instrumental. Wow. And I would classify the
Santana.
and well Santana. Come on, and I would classify that music that you collabed with in Black Bow as maybe more dance pop. I don't know where would that fit in.
Yeah, like alternative pop.
Alternative pop. All right.
hmm
Wow. So you're really diverse. You've got a
hmm
diverse catalog. That is awesome. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
it has been so fun to have you on. I know we must have said your name many times, and
hmm
what we always joke about here is that, when we say your name three times and you appear on the show, and here you are. So it's
Yep.
been great.
Thank you.
And, oh, wait a minute. And I know what, Doug. Tell me about this Kamaka. Sorry, I know it's getting late.
Oh, okay. So this is this Kamaka uh, is my bucket list Kamaka because I had a student back years and years ago that was working at a place called the Seventh Step Thrift Store, and
Yeah.
she called me up and said, "You need to come down right now." And I came down, and that ukulele was sitting in the dollar toy section, um, and
Nice.
it had a big crack down the back,
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
so I went
Okay.
up to the front and I said, "Okay, I can't afford to pay you what this is worth, but would you take $50 for it?" And the guy said, "I was gonna sell it to you for $1, so yes." Um, and so then I took it to the fine folks at uh,
Denver Folklore
the
Center?
the folklore center down here, and they fixed it
Yeah.
up. And yes, so now this I love this thing. Yay! I
That
need to find
is
the bathroom. Yeah, exactly. That's
wow.
the important phrases to learn in any language. So
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely.
hmm
¿Dónde está el baño? I think is in Spanish or something. I
Or
don't know.
the "Donde está es la banjo?" Where's the
Ba-
bathroom?
oh,
Yeah.
wow. Brittany, don't encourage him. Come on.
I can't not encourage good jokes.
Wow. We're definitely having you. Doug definitely wants you back on the show. So,
Yes, indeed.
I'd love to be back.
all right. Well, thank you so much again. This has been great. Learned so much, and what a career! I'm so impressed. And like I said,
Thank you.
just the Tommy Emmanuel and Santana, I could have just called it a career right there. But no, you have gone on and
hmm
become a producer, performer on your own right, and that's awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, as we do on every show, we're gonna end the show by counting to three and saying aloha, and we say it the tourist way, with the aloha, not the, not the.
Didn't you want to ask me what's coming up for Doug Brown?
Oh, yes, of course.
You
What's
know,
coming up for you and the Denver ukulele community?
nothing much. No, so we're gonna have our so November is our Thanksgiving food songs meeting, and we're gonna have it at Moe's Barbecue here coming up
Ooh,
on the
Moe's.
third Saturday of the month, which it's awesome. Everybody plays a little bit faster so that we can get to the barbecue part of the
Oh,
meeting.
okay, I
But
get it. I didn't know that.
Oh
It
yeah,
is good
it's
barbecue. Yeah,
oh, it really is, but
that's
super
worthwhile.
fun. And if there's also I've been going to an online strum called Uke Jams, and it happens every Sunday. And the
Okay.
cool thing about that one is my little baby daughter, who lives out in my little baby daughter, who's 19,
Hmm.
lives out in Oregon, and she has been coming to that strum along. And
Wow.
so like I'm so excited because tonight is the night that I get to play ukulele with my daughter, and it's great.
Oh, it's just so
But yes.
so awesome. And I even met her once. She was at the Denver ukulele festival with Jake. Although he's been a couple
Yep.
times. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and we got to get Brittany out here. So put in a good word for
Yeah.
her, would you,
Oh, I
Doug?
certainly will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've never been to Denver.
I don't know why. What? How did we overlook this? I don't know what's going on. I
Well,
mean,
I have the bonus that I'm not really in charge of anything. I'm just the guy that makes a lot of noise, and
yeah,
um, yeah.
yeah. Well, make some noise for Brittany. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, like I said, we're anything else, Doug? That is
Nope,
very awesome.
that's it.
Say hello to everyone on the live streams there when you're ukuleleing. Okay. So on three, let's all say aloha. Are you guys ready?
Yes,
Hmm.
indeed.
One, two, three.
Hello.
Aloha.
Aloha. I'm sorry, that I do the tourist version of it. So, all right, thanks a lot. So good
Ah,
to
so
have.
much fun, Brittany and Stuart. So good to
Thank you.
talk to you again, and see